Welcome to the first episode of Freedom of Information. There's a war for your mind going on in Linn Valley. Deception from about every angle that you can think of, folks. And it's critical right now that you pay attention, because they want you at home watching TV. They want you at home busy. I want you to think about this for a minute. The people that like to control, they're attracted to these types of positions, whether they're on, let's say, the city council or they're on the board of POA. What I've witnessed in the short time that I've attended these meetings is what they say and what they do and how they act, it's all very different. And they don't want any attention brought their way. And you can witness it for yourself. I challenge you to go to council meetings and POA meetings and sit back and kind of watch the funny business happen. There's a buddy system that's been going on in this town for a long time. And it's time that gets broken up and people start handling business the correct way. So, people act different when cameras show up. People act different when accountability is called out. And that's exactly what has to happen. So, the more and more that this place starts to downward spiral into what you don't want, you really have to take responsibility for yourself as a property owner, saying, well, I never went to any meetings and I never really knew what they were doing. I just assumed that, what they were doing was the right thing, and I think a lot of Americans make that mistake. It's not always the right thing. There's a lot of bad things going on. There's a lot of buddy system stuff that's going on. So you really have to pay attention to who's running, find out who their husbands are, their wives are, and you'll really start to see that there's a really big issue going on. And the city council, they're not behaving like the city council. I can tell you firsthand. I've had to go in there and call them out on stuff, and they have no idea, nor have they had a procedure even in place, folks. They don't even know the rules to follow the rules. It's that bad. The POA, I can't even really say what's going on there, because I think, some people will tell you, what you want to hear to your face, and then others will be perfectly honest with you. So it's important that we have the chairs occupied by people that understand the freedom and constitution of what this whole facility was built on. It's vitally important. If you get people that are like the city council operating the POA board, which I think is what you're getting ready to attempt to happen, don't know if it's going to follow through or if the people of this community are going to step up and put somebody in that understands what this place was built on, the values, and keeps the integrity of Linn Valley and fixes the problems that have already been overstepped. So, there's an election coming up February 27th. And it's really important that we make the right decision. And I wouldn't just vote for somebody because you feel like you have to. There's people on there running that shouldn't be taking those chairs. I can tell you right now, you're going to make a big mistake if you select the wrong people. I myself, my name is Collin Vaughn. I am running as a write-in just because I've had so many people say, you need to run, man. I mean, they understand and they see what's going on in there. So, I decided to go on a ride-in. I don't know if I win or not, but it's important that you get somebody that understands freedom, that understands family, and that understands specific values as to what makes this place go. I can say that from the time that I've been here and the questions that I've asked, going in the office to pay my dues, they don't want more people in here. To them, more people is more problems. Well, when you think like that, that's why you have property value problems, okay? If you had more people in here wanting to secure property, property goes up. People don't want to come in here and be harassed by the police. They don't want to turn the corner when they come home from work and see Joe sitting outside like it's a prison camp. I mean, these are all easily identifiable mistakes that doesn't take the common sense of anybody to figure out. So, those are things that you have to hold people accountable for. The POA allows the police to come in here and patrol these private roads. These roads are private. This community is gated. The police should not even be allowed to come in here unless somebody calls 911. They should have a security guard that patrols Linn Valley or can check on old people, or if there's an issue, they can call the police to come in and handle the issue. Otherwise, to write tickets on private roads is absolutely absurd. And nobody should feel like they're coming home to a prison camp when they get home. Absolutely unacceptable. And, you really have to start holding people accountable. And if nobody's holding them accountable, if nobody's calling them out, they're going to keep on with their agenda. It's really important, folks, that you get out there and you start watching what's going on, that you start sending emails and holding people responsible for the decisions that are being made here, both from the city council and the POA. And I want everybody to know, the city council, they, from what I've observed, they think that they're king boss. But really, the people are the boss. The people that show up to those meetings, we hold those folks accountable. And if we don't like what they're doing, we can ask them to resign. It's that simple. Ask them to resign, put the pressure on them and say, you know what, you're not operating this town the way we want it operated. You're really doing a horrible job. We would really appreciate that you go ahead and resign, and we'll find somebody else that we think is a better fit for what that role calls for. It's really important, folks. You are the boss. They are not. They put fear in you like they're the boss. That's not how it works. These are elected officials by the public, okay? If you don't like something, you handle it by letting them know. If you don't like the way the police are operating, or you have a particular problem with an officer, regardless if it's right or wrong, you should go there and actually get out your cell phone and say you would like to receive a complaint form. Record that you're receiving the complaint form, fill it out, and then I want you to record giving it back. And it's important that they actually respond to the complaint in the mail, in writing, that they've received your complaint. They're going to tell you that they're investigating, and that's about it. They're not going to give you any more information. But it's important that you get that piece of paper back, because it's a paper trail that they received it, and they cannot throw that complaint in the trash. That's the reason you want to hold them accountable. You want to film that interaction because they have been throwing stuff in the trash. It's really important, folks, that you do it this way. If you have a specific problem with an officer that you feel like they've crossed way over the line, you need to turn them into the Attorney General of Kansas. Fill out the paperwork. It takes like 10 minutes to go to their website, print off the paperwork that you feel is applicable, and let them know it's not okay. You've got to hold people accountable. Same thing with the POA. They have to be held accountable for the decisions that they're making on behalf of the property owners. And again, it's just as much everybody's fault it doesn't go if you just stay home on the couch because you're busy. And I don't expect you to go to every meeting, but it's really important that you go to these meetings so you see what's happening, you see who's getting raises, you see where they're spending their money, you see where they're giving out Christmas bonuses, or you see areas that they're just totally neglecting. So, I mean, I've seen some foolish stuff myself attending these meetings where there's no common business sense being ran. If people have had the same jobs forever, and God bless them, I don't wish that they did not have their job, but some people don't need to be operating there. If you've been doing the same thing every year and you're not making any progression, or nobody's got any plan of progression to get things moving in the right direction, by golly, it's time to handle business. That's just the way it is, folks. You gotta progressively move this community forward. It just has to happen. So that's it for segment 1 for Freedom of Information here on LinnValleyRadio.com. My name is Collin Vaughn. I'm your host, and stay tuned.